Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Bubble. I'm your host, Duke Magnum, and with me, as always, my co-host, Squiggy.
How's it going, everybody? So, Duke, let's get right into it. Anything that you've seen or you would like to share with the listeners that you've read about or heard over the past week?
Well, just saw that trailer to Black Adam, which looks like could be a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah, they did release a teaser trailer, right?
Yes, and they also released one for Wonder Woman 84, which looks really good.
Yeah, I saw the Black Adam one as well. I feel like I'm a little bit excited, but a little bit skeptical as well, because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be playing Black Adam. And of course, I mean, I like The Rock, but I just feel like he's done so much that it might be hard to just like you know what I mean, like just let go and accept like a new character and not see him as one of his previous characters. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, because you're just going to recognize The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. He's so iconic that it makes it difficult, even in some movies that I've seen before, like Fast and the Furious or Hercules a while back, which wasn't that great, but it's hard because he's The Rock, you know. He's always going to be The Rock. But I mean, hopefully with this one they do something to make him, I don't know, I really don't know what to expect, but it looks pretty cool, honestly. Anything else?
And in some passing news, we lost Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther.
Oh yeah, I read about that, man.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. I was so surprised by it. And it was to cancer, right?
I think so. All I know is he passed. I didn't really read too much into it, but it's like, that's a bummer for Marvel fans out there.
Yeah, definitely. I read it was from cancer, and just the way that he had carried himself throughout his life, you know, like, he never like complained, he never like said anything about it, really. I mean, I didn't know he had cancer, and I feel like to suffer in like secret like that, you know, it's kind of very like respectable, because it's like he didn't really like
he didn't have people worried, which was good.
Yeah, exactly.
He made a positive impact by just not saying something about that. So that's inspiring right there.
Yeah, I mean, of course it must be hard, you know, and I know his family knew and stuff, and from what I read, it said that he passed away at home with his family there with him. So it was kind of like they saw it coming, you know. But still, nonetheless, it's a big loss for, like you said, the Marvel universe and Marvel fans. But I mean, on to a better place, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving forward, anything else that you've seen or read about over the past week?
Well, I read about that upcoming Flash movie to be released sometime next year.
Yeah, I think it's until 2022. Unfortunately, yeah. I saw that as well. But I think it's coming out June 2022. It's gonna be. I think from what I read, it's gonna be called Flashpoint, and it's gonna be based off of the Flashpoint storyline. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Flashpoint Paradox. It's like an animated Flash movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of going to be based loosely off that, from what I've read. And I know that Ben Affleck's Batman will be making an appearance again. What else have you heard about it?
That Michael Keaton's version should be showing up in that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense, because Flash is so fast he can travel through universes, you know?
Right.
So I feel like they would probably do that, where he can see Ben Affleck's Batman, travel to another universe, and then you see Michael Keaton's Batman.
And who I felt never got to do enough Batman movies. He only got to do 2. And it was like really unfortunate there was never a third one with him in it. If they had probably kept him, probably back then, the movies would have probably been better than what we got.
Yeah.
Which reminds us of, speaking of multiple universes of characters, which brings us to this week's Showdown. In this week's Showdown, we're doing things a little differently. A triple threat match between 3 actors who have portrayed the webhead, wall crawler, web slinging Spider-Man.
Nice.
Now, in one corner we have Tobey Maguire. In another one we have Andrew Garfield. In another one we have Tom Holland.
Okay. This is a good one. So we got Tobey McGraw. That's Tim McGraw's son. Tobey Maguire versus Andrew Garfield versus
Tom Holland.
Okay, this is a good one. All right, let's start off with the basics. We gotta start with aesthetics, the costume. Which one do you think had the best costume?
Tom Holland, hands down. It looked very accurate to the comics look-wise, and it looked like the Spider-Man I would want to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, Tom Holland's suit just brought a different vibe to the movie. Everything, even the way the eyes can like squint and close, and it shows more expression that you didn't really get with the other ones. However,
Right.
I did like the first Tobey Maguire suit, and then I also did like the first Andrew Garfield suit. However, it was because I had not yet seen the Tom Holland one. So at that time, I did like those suits. But you're right, the Tom Holland one it really does justice to the Spider-Man character.
Yes.
And how'd you feel about the Iron Spider suit?
Iron Spider suit. That actually made sense because, like, if you've read various comics, it's been in there and stuff, so that really made sense.
Yeah, it was definitely faithful to the comics. And also, I like the way that they first revealed it in Infinity War, right? When
I thought they revealed it at the end of Homecoming.
Was it?
Yes, because I remember correctly that towards the end, spoiler alert, for those who haven't seen it, that I believe Tony Stark made it, and he had
Oh,
turned
you're
down.
right. You're right. When he turns down to be an Avenger, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But
He does wear it in
exactly, that's what I
Infinity War.
meant. Because
Yeah.
you don't really see the full what are they
Right.
called? Not claws, but like the little spider legs.
Right.
That you don't see it in action until Infinity War.
Right.
So that moment where like you feel like he's in a bit of danger, and then boom, the legs come out and it kind of like cradles him into safety. That was just really awesome. But even in Homecoming too, when you see everything that the suit can do, and like even with the what was it called, like instant kill or something.
Oh yeah.
It was funny, like the way that it could do all of that with the suit. It really gave perspective that there's more to offer than Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire Spider-Man did, where it just seemed like some spandex suit that they were wearing,
Right.
This made it seem like this actually has technology, it can
Right.
actually do stuff,
And they made sense out of it.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay, Tom Holland takes the point for costume. Second category is villains in the movie. Now, before we get started, I gotta say this. In my opinion, out of all the Marvel Universe, I think Spider-Man has the best array of villains.
I agree.
DC, Batman takes the cake, Joker,
Right.
Penguin, right? Riddler, all these awesome villains. Here, Spider-Man definitely takes it. You got Lizard, you got Rhino, you've got Kraven the Hunter.
You got Venom, Carnage,
Yep.
Scorpion, Dr. Octopus. The list could go on and on.
Yeah, exactly. So, from the three movies, Tobey Maguire, right? First, let's start with Tobey Maguire. He faced the Green Goblin, played by William Dafoe, right?
Yes.
He also faced Sandman.
That was in the third one, but second
Yeah.
one he faced Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, Dr. Octopus and Venom.
Yes.
And was that it?
Pretty much.
Okay, so we've got
Well,
Venom.
and also the second Goblin because of Harry Osborn. in
Yeah,
the third
true.
one.
So Green Goblin, Venom, Sandman, Dr. Octopus. And then we got Andrew Garfield, who faced the Lizard in the first one. And
Then he faced. He faced Electro, Rhino, and
was it Hobgoblin?
Green Goblin.
It was still Green Goblin? Because I know it was
Osborn.
Harry.
Yeah, Harry's Green Goblin.
Okay. But doesn't he also portray the Hobgoblin in the comic books?
No, he becomes the Green Goblin in the comic books. and in the cartoon
Then
as well.
who's the Hobgoblin then?
Oh, that was a different person.
Oh man,
But there was other
goblins confused.
There was like multiple people to take on the mantle of the Hobgoblin.
Okay, I thought that Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin, and then Harry Osborn took on the Hobgoblin as like a homage to his father or something. Yeah, I must have got it confused with something else.
Yeah.
I got my goblins confused, you know? It happens. You never got your goblins confused? I'm just kidding. Okay, so Andrew Garfield, you're right. Electro with Jamie Foxx, right?
Yes.
And then Lizard and who else?
The
Green
rhino,
Goblin
the
and
rhino,
the Rhino.
The Rhino.
He did face the Rhino?
Well, yeah. If you watch the very end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, you see it at the end and
Oh,
stuff.
you're right. With
I forgot
what's
his name.
Ah, come on. He's in Big Fat Liar, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't
Was it
believe-
Paul Giamatti?
Paul Giamatti, that's it. Yeah, Paul Giamatti, I remember that. But he didn't really face him, so
Right.
I wouldn't even give him that credit, because it would be awesome to see Rhino.
I'm
but-
making acknowledgement of who is in, but at the end
Yeah.
you see him about the fight.
True, yeah. It would have been cool to see what was coming next, you know, but whatever, it happens. Okay, and then Tom Holland, we've got Mysterio with Jake Gyllenhaal in the second one, right? Far From Home.
Yes.
And in Homecoming, we got Vulture
Yes.
with Michael Keaton,
Oh yeah.
which was awesome, too. Another Michael Keaton reference.
Yeah.
And I guess I wouldn't really count Thanos.
Right, because that was more
Avengers,
because that wasn't that was like all the characters fighting him. So yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Which one? Tobey Maguire villains, Andrew Garfield villains? Which movie series or which movie franchise do you think gave us more villains that we were like, "Yep, I wanted to see this villain"?
Well, for me personally, I would say Tom Holland, because they felt rather accurate to the source material on the looks department. Yeah, they may have changed a few little things around, but that didn't bother me. But I thought it was like well thought out with these villains. Now, my problem with the villains in the other movies was like, okay, like in the first Spider-Man, the Green Goblin, I don't think his origin story was that good. It was happening at the same time as Spider-Man's origin, which was never in the cartoons that I've watched or the comic books that I have read. And I felt there was not enough motivation for the Green Goblin. I felt they rushed to make him a one-dimensional villain without much reason, to accept the petty things at the beginning of him almost losing his company or whatever. Then, of course, Spider-Man 2, it's like, I don't like how they portray Dr. Octopus, where he was forced to be bad against his own will. When I read the comic books and watched the cartoon, and that's not how Dr. Octopus was developed, where he couldn't control himself. Then, of course, the third one, that felt rushed. Like, I didn't like that whole thing where Sandman was the killer of Uncle Ben, and you did not get enough Venom, and they did not really portray his character very well. And Green Goblin 2, that he wasn't portrayed very, very well, and the whole time I felt that trilogy of Tobey Maguire was based off of revenge at times.
Yeah.
And or sometimes based on a subplot of the romance. But yeah, so it's I give no credit to the villains. I mean, I will give credit to actors giving their part, but that doesn't I'm not going to justify by saying it was the best, because it wasn't. I was rather let down at times.
Yeah, I
with
feel
portrayal.
I feel like when it came to the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I liked Green Goblin. I felt like I agree with you with the storyline. It didn't seem very believable. It didn't seem very convincing why he had to become Green Goblin, you know. But then nonetheless, I feel like the Green Goblin look was kind of cool, I guess. The mask was a little cheesy, but
Power Ranger
yeah, very Power Ranger But I did feel a sense of danger. You know what I mean? I felt like he was a potential threat, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I agree with you, though. I do believe that Tom Holland did have the best villains, because I feel like Mysterio is one that is not very talked about, and people that didn't read the
Right.
comic books or don't know much about the Spider-Man background and stuff, they probably had never even heard of him. To be
Right.
honest, they probably were like, "Who is this?" You know.
Oh yeah.
But to see and the way that they portrayed the power that Mysterio has, like all
Right.
the illusions and stuff, it was done so well. You know that it really made me feel in that moment like, how is Spider-Man gonna get out of this? How is he gonna figure out a way to defeat this guy? And
Right.
that's what I love in
that's-
hero movies. You
And
know?
that's how Spider-Man is supposed to be, where he's using his mind. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out with the Andrew Garfield ones that we have yet to cover, like those villains were not. They were kind of so-so. Like
yeah.
the Lizard, it's like they had the right idea, but when you see the look of him, he looks like. His face kind of looks like the Goomba from the old '90s Super Mario Brothers film. Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah, and like you could tell they were trying so hard to set up a little universe with their franchise, which failed, and then when they go to the next one, they made that same mistake as Spider-Man 3, trying to overstuff it with too many villains, and it fell flat.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up next. The one mistake that I feel like a lot of superhero movies make is trying to squeeze too many villains into one movie. I feel like you have a whole movie to choose a good villain, develop his story, develop the villain throughout the movie, and make a really potential threat from
Right.
one villain. You know, I feel like it was the same thing when it came to Batman versus Superman. You know, they not only did they have Lex Luthor, then they brought in
Right.
Doomsday, then they brought in it was just so many
Right.
like so many different things that I was like, wait, what? Like, why are you
Right.
bringing all this into one movie? You know, I feel like when it comes to movies, like the way that Far From Home or Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming did, it was perfect. You have Vulture,
Right.
and that's it. You can focus on Vulture
Right.
and learn about Vulture. You know,
And we're not just seeing these villains because they had to squeeze it in there.
yeah, exactly. Like it's too much sometimes. It's like Spider-Man 3, definitely way too many villains. in
Right,
it.
and the story felt rushed.
Yeah, because there's not enough time for each one to shine. You know, like I
Right.
feel like especially with the villain like Venom, he's got to have his own movie. Come on, like now of course he
Right.
does, but I'm saying like even in a Spider-Man movie, if Venom is gonna be the villain, he's got to be
Right.
the main villain for the whole movie. You know.
Right. Like, as terrible Batman and Robin was, at least I got to see those three villains equally, even though they stuffed too many. Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Bane. At least I got enough to see them on screen. But with Spider-Man 3, I didn't get to see enough Venom. And same mistake with Amazing Spider-Man 2. It felt like you didn't really get to see Electro shine that much.
Yeah.
And
it was like one main scene, and then that
one
was
main
it. pretty
scene.
much.
Then how they rushed Green Goblin, you didn't really get to see much, and
Yeah.
you saw very little of the Rhino. So it's like that's what the Rhino has in common with Venom, very little.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking forward to what Tom Holland's Spider-Man has next, but I definitely feel I agree. Tom Holland's villains have brought, like, they just brought it, you know? I like them. They both have been really awesome, and yeah, they're going to be even greater things to come, you know? So, again, another point for Tom Holland. Now, our third point is the romance. Aww, the relationship. You got Mary Jane, Kirsten Dunst, right?
Yes.
You've got Gwen Stacy with Emma Stone.
In the Amazing One, but she was in Spider-Man 3, played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't really put too much attention on her, though.
On who?
On Gwen Stacy.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I just need to acknowledge that
Oh, okay,
part.
for sure.
But-
and then we got the new MJ, I guess, played by Zendaya.
Yes, but I'm hearing rumors they might put the real one in.
Oh, really?
At some point, that's what I've read, but there's so many articles I have to take with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I get you.
But as far as like my problem with the romance, I had a problem with both of it, in the Tobey Maguire ones and the Andrew Garfield ones. But that's what I like about Tom Holland, is that they don't make that important, because that's kind of like a side thing. They don't like have it overshadowing the important parts
True.
of Spider-Man's mythology.
Yeah, I feel like in the first one with Tobey Maguire, first off the bat, I didn't like that they went straight into Mary Jane.
Right.
Because that's not the way it happened. You know?
Right, because I've not only I stress this, how I've read the comics, watched the cartoons. Like, I've watched the 90s animated series, and I would say they came at least close enough to almost being accurate to the source material, but maybe switching a few things around, but still enjoyable. Like, okay, in the first one, you hear that supposedly Peter Parker met her when they were kids and stuff, but that's not how it was in the comic books. Like, it was where his Aunt May had set him up on a blind date, and he meets her at the door, and that's when Peter is attracted to her. That's how it happened. Now, as I've read the comics, I think one of his first interests was Betty Brant. Then at some point it was Gwen Stacy.
And even with Gwen, he was trying to not like her, right? I think, if I remember correctly,
like that.
He didn't, because she was a troubled kid in a way, right? Because she was a daughter of the police,
yes.
So she kind of was like a little bit troubled. And I if I remember correctly, like, he didn't want to fall for her because he knew in a way she was kind of bad news, but he couldn't help it. Like, he just liked her too
right.
much.
As I remember in the comic books, it's like it's like sometimes he hardly noticed her because he had so much on his mind, and it seemed like at some point those two been wondering if the other person ever acknowledges there was something like that. And but just and plus, like, in the comic books, I believe Peter met Gwen, I think, in college, but as you see portrayed in the movies, they met in high school. And the way they set up Peter Parker going for Gwen Stacy, they kind of set it up in a creepy way.
Yeah?
Where it seems like he's being stalkerish.
Oh.
Yeah, like... Yeah, just the way they portrayed that. And, like, when you think of the way Captain Stacy dies, like, it's like they say very different things and stuff. Like, you know, in the movie, he is asking Peter to promise him to stay away from her, but that's not what happens in the comic book. He pretty much tells him to just treat her right or something like that, but I just know that he was definitely encouraging it in the comic books.
Yeah, they were probably just trying to make it more dramatic in the movie.
Right, and another issue was the death of Gwen Stacy. Like, it's like they had, like, almost had it right, but
I feel like it was pretty well done.
Well done, but the story behind it was just completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was not Harry Osborn's Green Goblin that caused it, but in the comic books it was Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn, and I read those issues, and that was a good storyline.
Yeah.
And
And I guess with the new MJ with Zendaya, I guess they're just trying to go with a different approach.
Right.
But I mean, like you said, I do like the fact that it's not overshadowing the main thing. It doesn't feel like Spider-Man has to save the damsel in distress all the time, you know?
Right.
Which I kind of feel like got old. But overall, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man takes it. What do you think when it comes to the romance in the movie?
It's hard for me to want to give a point because I never cared for the romance. And I want to give this to Tom Holland for the romance not overshadowing.
You're like, the winner for romance is the one with the least romance.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, we can give it to him. I do feel like either way, they all kind of had like their cool moments and their little like cute moments or whatever. But yeah, I do like the fact that she kind of stays out of the way, Tom Holland, and like she kind of not like stays out of the way in a bad way, but like it doesn't overshadow. But also it shows that even though she's a woman, like they still portray her as someone who can defend herself, you know. And she's not like she's very like bold and she's not afraid, you know, which is cool. That's like a cool perspective on someone new. I just hope they clarify who is she, a completely new character, or is she supposed to be a twist on MJ, or I don't know what they're trying to do with it, but I'd like to find out soon. Okay, then, which brings us to our third and final category here, which is, what was the better franchise?
Oh, hands down, Tom Holland. Because if you've read the comic books like me, or especially watch the 90s cartoon, and you see Tom Holland, that's a Spider-Man right there.
Okay.
Because, like, really, like, I was amazed when I, saw the first one. I had high expectations because I knew they did a good job in Captain America Civil War, how they just introduced Spider-Man. And, like, and here was another problem with the Andrew Garfield ones. They were trying to make it like a Dark Knight version. They were, like, trying to go for the approach that Christopher Nolan did with his Batman films,
Yeah.
and it fell flat. It's like they were having all this backstories that kind of dragged on. It's like something about Peter Parker's parents and stuff, and it's like it really went nowhere. We're trying to discover all these things, almost coming close to convoluting it at times.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just overall Tom Holland wins this.
I feel like I agree. When it came down to like Tobey Maguire, I felt like he was a good Peter Parker, but I didn't like him as Spider-Man. I felt like he didn't bring that like wittiness and like condescendingness. You know, like he always has his little like comebacks, his jokes. You know, like when even in the suit, he mocks the criminals.
Right.
You know?
I will give, to be fair, there was only one time I remember that sticks out to me when Peter Parker was ever smart aleck, or at least Tobey Maguire's version was in the wrestling match, you know, where he says, that's a cute outfit, did your husband give it to you? That's maybe the only time they ever did that, unless there's other times I forgot about, because
that match was cool, you know, like, and I'm not saying like he didn't at all. I'm just saying overall he brought more of a Tobey Maguire of a Peter Parker vibe, but I didn't really feel it, you know. On the contrary, when it came to Andrew Garfield, I didn't feel him as Peter Parker. However,
no, he had the look on his face of Peter Parker, so that was well casted. But what they did was they wasted some talent on this. They could have, I
feel like he had to be more nerdy. Bottom line, like he was too cool. Like to think like Peter Parker, like skateboarding around, you know, like
that wasn't
cool
necessary.
Skater boy, it doesn't really fit. He's like a nerd. That's kind of the point, you know, to be like the nerd and then get these powers and become something that is completely different than what you're used to, you know. And that's where I feel like he was a good looking Peter Parker, but he didn't have the Peter Parker vibe. And however, when he put the suit on, it was awesome. Yes. You know, like when I remember the one part when he's fighting that one criminal and he says like, "Oh no, you found my weakness, like really small knives or something." Remember? Like things like that. That's like I would remember reading that in the comics. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's like they almost had it, then they kind of fumbled the ball on that franchise. It could have been good. It could have been better, but they failed because of the approach they took.
Yeah.
And like,
but Tom Holland brought both.
He brought,
which I feel like finally it's like there's a Spider-Man that I feel does justice to both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Yes. Like I said in last week's podcast, if you haven't listened to it, check it out. But with Batman, I still haven't felt that, you know? I haven't felt there's like a Batman that brings it, you know? Remember we said Christian Bale? He was a good Bruce Wayne.
I think that was I think that was like
well, it was 2 weeks ago, sorry. Yeah, still, if you haven't listened to it, check it out. So, but yeah, I'm still waiting on a Batman to bring the Bruce and the Batman. But in Spider-Man's case, I think Tom Holland just does it justice, both as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man. So I agree. I think overall, Tom Holland just takes the cake. The new Spider-Man series is just like...
It's here to stay.
Yeah, pretty much. I hope they don't mess it up somehow and don't... I don't know. When there was rumors that he was leaving MCU and all that stuff, I was like, come on. Like, we finally got a good Spider-Man and they're going to get rid of him. You know, so I'm hoping everything goes well and we see many more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland in it. So I think the winner of this week's showdown is very clear.
It's
Tom Holland. Yep. So, all right, well, leave a comment below if you agree, disagree, any opinions you want to share, and let us know who do you want to see in next week's showdown.
Our next segment is a brand new one called 5-on-5 Pickup. And tell them how it works, Squiggy.
All right, so 5-on-5 Pickup is our newest segment, as Duke said. And the way it works is, it's kind of just like a 5-on-5 basketball pickup game. You know, you line up all the players on the line, and then you got two captains. They choose their players, and then they play a game. But this one, we're going to choose from a list of 90s cartoon characters. So, I'm going to pick a character. Well, actually, Duke, I'll let you go first. Duke's going to pick a character, then I'm going to pick a character. But once Duke picks a character, I cannot have that character on my team. So, at the end of it, we're going to have a full team of 5 characters for Duke, 5 characters for me, and then we're going to let you guys vote which team wins, Team Duke or Team Squiggy. So, let's get started. Who's your first pickup, Duke?
I would pick Pinky.
Pinky? From Pinky and the Brain?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Oh, he's funny. He's wacky.
True. He did bring the wackiness. Okay, that's a pretty good first pick. I like that. All right. Okay. My first pick, since you picked Pinky. Oh, it's tough because I don't want to risk not choosing one and then you take it from me. So, all right, I'm going to go with someone that might be pretty well known to Pinky, might even be friends with Pinky, because they probably hang out in the same studio for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Wacko from the Animaniacs.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yep. I feel like out of the three, out of his brother and sister and him, he was probably the funniest one. And not only that, but the character design is awesome. You got the red hat and the blue shirt, well, tealish shirt. Still, he had a cool look about him, and yeah, I feel like he was the funniest one. So my first pick is Wacko. Okay, time for your next pick, Duke. Let's go.
I'd have to pick Plucky Duck from Tiny Toon Adventures.
Plucky Duck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like his successor, Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck's awesome. Is that your pick, Daffy Duck?
Well,
no, right?
Plucky Duck.
Okay. Okay, cool. So so far you've got Pinky and Plucky Duck. All right, up next, I'm going to have to go with one of my favorite cartoon characters, and I feel like I learned pretty much everything I knew about being a kid from this character. I'm going to have to go with Arnold from Hey Arnold. He just had like this cool vibe. I'm sure every kid that watched it was like, I want to have his room where he had the rooftop made of glass. You could see everything. Like, he was such a cool character, and the way that he was able to balance all his friends and be like the voice of reason, and just I learned a lot of good life lessons as a kid from that show. And I just feel like, yeah, Arnold just kind of brought that cool factor to it. So I'm gonna have to go with Arnold. So now I've got Wacko and Arnold. Your time for your third pick, Duke.
Bobby from Bobby's World.
Oh, big-headed Bobby. Okay.
Yeah, it was just, I liked his imagination, and that intro was always cool to see, and just his imaginations, and yeah.
I feel like it was a good show to inspire like kids to use their imagination more.
Oh yeah.
Like the things that you can think of, it's really awesome. Okay, that was a good pick. So far you've got Pinky, Plucky Duck, and Bobby, right?
Yes.
Okay. My next pick, and this one might be a little bit controversial because the show didn't come out until 1999. But I still feel like that counts as a 90s character. So I'm going to go with Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy. And I just feel like I don't know what it is about him over Ed and Eddie, but I just feel like I love the hat, how he always had a hat on. I thought that was so cool. The character design with the orange shirt, it just had a cool vibe about it. Even his voice, like, I don't know, Eddie, like it was very cool and distinct. And it was like, that character overall was just like super, I don't know, appealing in a way. So I gotta go with Double D, EDD. So far my team's looking pretty stacked, Duke. I don't know. So we've got, I forgot who I picked first. I should have wrote this down.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hold on. So I got Arnold. Oh, Wacko. Okay.
Yes.
Wacko. I got Arnold, right?
Yes, and you got Double D.
Double D. All right.
Yes.
That's it?
Well, you...
Yeah, okay. Now time for your fourth pick.
I'm going to have to go with Beavis.
Beavis?
Yeah.
Dang, no butthead?
Oh.
You're like, I still have a fifth pick.
Right. I wish I could squeeze him on the same list, just like I wish I could squeeze Brain on the same list with Pinky.
Yeah, I get you.
So if I can do that, let them share the...
Wait, sorry to split the duels, but one character at a time. That's the rules of the five on five pickup. Okay, so Beavis, right? Why Beavis and not Butthead? Like, what made you go with Beavis?
Oh, just his voice and stuff. I mean, I do like Butthead and stuff, but if I can, I don't know if I can rearrange my list or take something off or not.
You can, but I mean, it's your five, So based on your team, that's what the audience is gonna vote on. So you decide.
Yeah. Well,
Beavis?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can never go wrong with the way he goes, fire, fire! Or when he has his shirt over his head. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a funny one, dude. Beavis and Butthead definitely have some funny show. Their show is funny, and also the comics. Their comics can be funny too, man.
I've read them all. Seen every episode and the movie. And I've watched it when it was revived back in 2011. I read articles that they're possibly bringing it back.
Oh, cool. I didn't hear about that, but that's pretty cool. I feel like they're definitely timeless, and they could apply to any era, you know, like the way that they like reviewed the music videos and stuff. I thought that was super hilarious. Okay, so Beavis. All right, for my next pick, okay, I gotta go with, this is my fourth pick, right? Okay, my fourth pick, I gotta go with, and again, this one might be a little bit controversial because technically the show started in 1989, but the majority of their span was, well, I'm not saying the majority of their span, but a big
80s/90s.
Okay, yeah, because a big majority of their span was in the 90s. So I'm gonna go with Krusty the Clown.
Oh yeah.
I feel like The Simpsons as a whole, it just has been like a timeless show. Like it's going on and on and on, and it can adapt to anything. But Krusty the Clown just always had like a, not only again his character design is awesome. He has a cool look to him, you know, the hair, the nose, everything, but he's just funny. He always brings like that unexpectedness. Like they can use him for anything, you know. So I feel like definitely he's got to be on my team, you know. So I'm gonna have to add Krusty to the list, which brings me to my fourth pick, and that leaves me at Wacko, Arnold, Double D, and Krusty the Clown. Now, Duke, time for your last, fifth, and final pick.
Oh yeah, can I take one off the list and switch one out? Or is it too late for that?
I don't know. All right, we'll let it slide.
Well, like, I know I put Pinky on there, but I just thought about it. I think I like Brain more.
Okay, fine, we'll switch him out. Why Brain, though?
He's smart, and I just, find him
Pinky,
funny.
Out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's just smart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that brings you to Brain as your number one, and then Plucky Duck.
Yes.
And
and
Beavis.
Right, and I had to put Bobby on there.
Oh, yeah, Bobby. Big head Bobby. Okay.
Yeah. But I also like it's really tough. I don't know if I can switch any more out or not.
No, just one more.
Right. But I can do an honorable list after this, right? Honorable mentions. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to pick T-Bone from SWAT Cats.
Okay. Why? Why him?
Oh.
He definitely looks cool.
Yeah, he definitely looks
His
cool.
His character design's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and just the action they brought was always awesome. And like the planes they flied.
Okay.
Flew.
Yeah. So can you name your five again? You got Brain.
Yes, Brain.
Plucky Duck,
Bobby from Bobby's World, Beavis, and T-Bone.
So that's Duke Magnum's 5-star team right there.
Yes.
Again, for those that didn't hear it the first time, you got Brain, you've got Plucky Duck from Tiny Toons, you've got Bobby from Bobby's World, Beavis from Beavis and Butthead, and T-Bone from SWAT Cats.
Yes. Now I'm going to do an honorable...
Whoa. I haven't picked my fifth character yet.
Oh, my bad.
So, we've got on Team Squiggy, we got Wacko from Animaniacs. We've got Arnold from Hey Arnold. We've got Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy. And we've got Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons. Now, my fifth and final pick. Now, this is a tough one. But I think I'm going to have to go with... Oh, man, I got two that I'm kind of... I got a lot, actually. But I'm going to have to go with... just because I feel like without this character, this show wouldn't have been so appealing to me. I gotta go with Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I feel like he was just funny, and like the way they always like punked on him, and I don't know, I again, like the character design is so cool. The monkey with the brains showing, it's just funny, you know. But Mojo Jojo, it's just like so classic and iconic when I think about my childhood and like just watching that show. I feel like without him, it wouldn't have been what it was. Of course, like the Powerpuff Girls are cool or whatever, but Mojo Jojo just brings something to the table that, I don't know, it's just, he was awesome, you know? Right. So I gotta go with Mojo Jojo. So, Team Squiggy, once again, Wacko from Animaniacs, Arnold from Hey Arnold, Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy, Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons, and Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls. And Team Duke, we got Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Yep.
Bobby from Bobby's World.
Yes.
Plucky Duck
from Tiny
Toons
Adventures.
Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yes. Beavis from Beavis and Butthead.
And?
Oh yeah, T-Bone from SWAT Cats.
From SWAT Cats. Okay.
And our honorable mention list. You start with your honorable mentions that didn't make it.
All right. So
maybe a top 10.
We had a little bit of a longer list just in case we chose each other's characters. On my list was also Reptar from the Rugrats, who just was cool. He didn't have to say anything, but he was cool. Twister from Rocket Power, and Dr. Robotnik from the Sonic animated series. He just, I don't know, like he just looked cool, and like his voice was cool. I just felt like he was a pretty cool villain. So those were mine. What about you, Duke?
Well, the ones that didn't make it was Razor from SWAT Cats and Butthead. And of course, I just took Pinky off the other list, but Pinky can be on this one. And of course, I end up having one of the same characters as you, Wacko, but I also had Yakko on there. And, oh yeah, and there's so many that could be on the honorable mention list.
Yeah,
but
we could go on for hours and hours.
Go on for hours.
For the sake of time.
So we can use them on another episode some other time.
Yeah, we could. We'll definitely think of something fun to do with these other characters.
Right.
So again, just a quick recap. So, Team Squiggy, if you're for Team Squiggy, leave a comment below. We've got Team Squiggy coming in with our first pick, Wacko from Animaniacs, Arnold from Hey Arnold, Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy, Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons, and last but not least, who did I pick, dude? Oh yeah, Mojo Jojo.
Yeah.
I definitely should bring a notepad or something. Okay, so one more time. We got Wacko, we got Double D, we got Arnold, we got Mojo Jojo, and Krusty the Clown. That's our 5. Team Squiggy, leave a comment below because we're trying to take down Team Duke. If you vote for Team Duke, which I don't encourage, but Team Duke, you got? Go let them know, Duke.
Yes. We got Brain.
We got Plucky Duck.
Plucky Duck, T-Bone.
Beavis.
And
And there's one more.
there was one more. Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby from Bobby's
Yeah.
World. A lot of B's in there, you know? There's a lot
Yeah.
of B's. You got Brain. You got Bobby from Bobby's World. You
Yes.
got Plucky Duck.
That's
got,
a P.
Oh, yeah. Plucky Duck, Beavis, and T-Bone from SWAT Cats.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Team Duke versus Team Squiggy. 5-on-5 pickup. Leave your comment below. Who do you vote for? Team Squiggy, Team Duke.
And if you don't pick my team, you're in trouble. And you can never watch this again. Find another podcast because I will not tolerate that if I don't win.
Well, now they're not voting for you. I'm just kidding. No, but leave a comment below. Let us know what other 5-on-5 pickups do you want us to do, so we can choose our 5, make our team, and let you guys decide who's the winner. So leave a comment below.
And one more thing, it better be me, darn it.
With that being said, that brings us to this week's Chew on This. So Duke, what do you got for the audience that they could chew on over the next week?
For those of you who have an account with Disney Plus, I would say check out Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s and stuff. And you will see how it was like MCU before MCU was a thing, like with all the crossovers from different characters who haven't even had their own cartoon at that time. Like, you'll see appearances from Daredevil, Iron Man, The Punisher, X-Men. This list could go on and on. Oh,
Yeah.
and Fantastic Four made an appearance.
I started watching it on Disney Plus actually, and my wife and I love it. So definitely check that out. Spider-Man animated series on Disney Plus. Also, if you haven't checked out the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, you should probably check those out. You're a little bit behind, but it's okay. Better late than never. So check those out. And definitely go check out the new Black Adam trailer. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Leave a like below. Subscribe to the channel. And thank you for always supporting us. Duke, anything else you want to say to them?
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. And remember, stay positive. Don't let anyone burst your bubble. See you next week.